Hi, my name is Tyler Kopp, and after many pub core courses, an internship, and a thesis, I'm very proud to be graduating from Duke as a public policy major. And I'll be honest, writing my thesis was definitely the most challenging thing I did at Duke by far. I expected to pull all-nighters, I expected to shed tears, I expected to turn in the final draft while still thinking, wow, there's so much more I want to say. So why did I write one? I wrote one because every single day in the United States, our government separates families and we almost never talk about it. Since 2017, I've been connected with members of the deported and returned communities in Mexico City, primarily through the organization Otros Streams en Acción. In the summer of 2018, I had the opportunity to work with them in person. I remember that throughout that summer, media attention focused on the US-Mexico border as the Trump administration separated families. And while my heart broke with every story I read and every photo I saw, I couldn't stop thinking about how family separation is nothing new in the US. Separating families isn't just a Trump thing. In fact, most of the people who I work with in Mexico have been deported under the Obama and Bush and even Clinton administrations. Since the mid-90s, the US has deported millions of people from the US, and although that's not an explicit family separation policy, it still has the same impact that Trump's family separation policy has on those families that experience it. And we don't talk about that enough in the US and Mexico or anywhere. And so last May, I spent several weeks in Mexico City speaking with members of the returned community about family, deportation, separation, and specifically how separation has disrupted and altered their familial relationships. And as you might expect, separation is devastating. Everybody I spoke with, of course, has different experiences with separation, but everybody I spoke with told me that their relationships at best have stagnated and at worst have completely fallen apart. And I think when we think of separation, many of us imagine the physical aspects, right? And that's a huge part of it. But physical separation carries so many other consequences that make the separation so tough. Particularly, I found that separation stagnates or deteriorates relationships because it makes it so hard or impossible to fulfill normal familial roles of support, and it makes it hard or impossible to share experiences with family members that allow your relationships to grow, that bond you further. Things like not being able to hug your relatives, not being able to take care of them when they're sick, not making enough money in Mexico to help pay the bills in the US, not being able to explain to your young children that you didn't abandon them, that you didn't choose to be separated from them, not being able to see your family members graduate. Now, none of us can fully imagine what all of this is like unless we've gone through it. But after just 2 months of social distancing, I know I would give just about anything to be able to hug so many people I love, to be able to just say goodbye to them, to celebrate their birthdays, to be a shoulder to cry on, and to have those shoulders for me when I need them. And feeling these things, as I imagine many of us are, only gives us a glimpse into the everyday realities of family separation that is long-term and transnational. Now, when I talk about my thesis, I want to be clear and say that it isn't mine. Above all, it belongs to the returned community in Mexico. It would not have been possible without their time, their dedication, and most of all, their love. It also would not have been possible without my advisors, Liliana Paredes and Christina Gibson Davis, and without my family, who's been so supportive of me during this whole journey. One of the many things I've learned while working on this thesis is that family isn't just something that we're born into, it's something that we create. And I'm so happy to say that over these 4 years at Duke, I've had the opportunity to create the most beautiful family that I never could have imagined when I first arrived. And finally, I want to say that one of my main goals from the beginning of this process was that although I had a due date in December for my thesis, I wanted this to really just mark the beginning of so much more work to come. And I'm really happy to say that through the Hart Fellows program, I'll be moving to Mexico City really soon to continue working alongside the return community. So I wrote the thesis, I pulled all-nighters, I shed many tears, and I turned in my final draft wanting to say so much more. But I'm so happy that very soon I'll have the chance to work more closely than ever with a community that we should all be listening to more.